President Obama marks his first 100 days in office tomorrow. How's he doing? CBS News chief Washington correspondent and host of Face the Nation, Bob Schieffer, is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is one of those things that we don't really know. We won't really know until maybe 1,000 days from now how the first 100 days will be going. But from the observable things that we can maybe most of us agree on, what are you thinking so far?
I think he's off to a good start. But I agree with exactly what you say, Harry. You know, we use the FDR 100 days as the big benchmark. I think it was not in the middle of the 100 days that people knew whether or not that was going to work or not. Significant.
Because there's so much going on.
But he has done so much. I think one thing, I mean, his popularity is holding up. It tells you that people are giving him the benefit of the doubt, if nothing else. They think he is able and fit to hold the office. Nobody's talking about, you know, is the president irrelevant? Is this man big enough for the job? I think he's convinced most Americans that he is. But, you know, these problems are so severe. Who knows if this stuff is going to work? I mean, I've covered stories for 50 years, 52 years. I always had a view of whether the government was doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Sometimes I was right, sometimes I was wrong. This stuff is so complex, I don't know. And I'm not sure anybody else knows. And so if it works, they're going to look back on these days as really a great time. But
it's interesting because compared to his predecessors, his numbers are good. They're better than Bill Clinton's were. They're better than the 43s were. Not as good as Eisenhower, not as good as Kennedy per se. What's interesting is when you break these numbers down, his approval numbers, Democrats and independents say, we're with you. And Republicans have basically said, we are not into what you're doing here. It's interesting to see that divide forming so early on.
The Republican Party right now is in the place it was after the '64 election when Lyndon Johnson won a landslide. People said this is the end of the Republican Party. Of course it wasn't. Richard Nixon was elected 4 years after that. But a Richard Nixon, as it were, has not emerged from the Republican Party now. There is no identifiable leader in the party at this point, and until someone emerges and people can begin to coalesce around him, you're going to kind of see the party doing what it's doing, and that is sort of going around in all directions. In a funny kind of way.
But it's unified, though, in the standpoint that it does not like what Obama is doing.
That's right, but somehow that's got to change. You've got to present a program to get people to be for. Right now, just sort of saying, let's sit by and see what happens here. It's not going to be enough to bring a party together. But that will happen down the line. But right now, it hasn't happened.
There you go. Bob Schieffer, as always, what a pleasure to see you.
Great
52
to see you.
years, huh?
Don't tell anyone.
No, I won't. I won't share that with anybody. Coming up.